What's going on YouTube? Zach with Card Stock Exchange coming at you with a new video. So today we have a brand new format. Decided to get a little fancy, do a little background side to side. You can kind of see the, I guess you can see the format that we got going. Soon we'll get a green screen. That's probably next up. But for now, we have the agenda is a new thing. So you can reach me on all socials at Card Stock Exchange. Follow us for pretty much everything. And on today's show, we're going to talk about really A&M specific, right? So we're going to try and do this for multiple colleges, kind of the portal at large. But today, we're going to do Aggie specific because I am an Aggie. I go to A&M. Shout out A&M. So I got, I guess, the most intel / the most invested in this topic, you could say. Growing out the mullet, so doing great, right? Anyway, for today, we're going to talk about the Aggie portal entrance. We're going to take a look at who's in the portal, who do we have committed as of now, which is December 11th. And then we're going to talk about some recruiting news. There's a lot on the Aggie recruiting trail now that Jimbo's out. And then we're going to follow that up with our 2024 schedule and kind of my thoughts heading into next season. So we're going to start off with portal news. So discussing the portal, the first set of entrants is what you see on the right here. You have guys ranging all up and down in terms of stars, right? Some notable ones that I think everyone has been talking about is first Walter Nolan. There's a lot of speculation on why he entered the portal. I don't think it helped that our D-line coach left, and we'll kind of get into that in a bit. But he was our interim coach, Elijah Robinson. He recruited a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys respected him. And he left for Syracuse, which has caused a lot of defensive linemen to enter the portal. It's not like they weren't getting playing time. They were getting good stats. So the question kind of is, why did they enter? I think it has to do with him. I don't think it has to do with NIL. Personally, I believe that our NIL is top of the game compared to a lot of other colleges, just from what I've seen and heard. Don't want to get too much into that, but you can imagine A&M does have a pretty deep bag. With Walter, in Walter's case, the interesting fact is, from what I've heard, listening to other shows and talking to people, is that he is hoping for a 7-figure NIL deal wherever he goes, i.e. why his number one projected location right now after he took a visit there is Oregon. They do have a deep bag. They have Nike money. And honestly, I wouldn't say that's a horrible fit, right? Dan Lanning is a good coach. I don't blame him for going there. So if you get a mixture of NIL plus getting to go to Oregon, more power to you. The next couple, and what I will say, a lot of these guys are out-of-state guys. We were able to hold on to a lot of our Texas guys so far. But in terms of the out-of-state guys, you follow that up with Tyreek Chappelle and Fadil Diggs. Chappelle was on and off the field, but historically he has been really good for us, right? I think he's just looking for a change of scenery. And with Fadil, I think Fadil did leave because of the coach, Elijah Robinson, leaving. From what I've seen on the crystal balls, he is projected to go to Syracuse, which is where Elijah Robinson took over the DC job. And so that kind of tells me, put two and two together, right? A lot of the other guys on the list, I'd say the next most notable couple are LT Overton. He was the number one, or at least a top 5 player in his class in 2023. He reclassified to 2022 to become part of that all-time class, and he was still a 5-star after reclassifying, which kind of tells you how good he was. Again, he's been a stud on the field, but he is transferring. I've seen a lot of crystal balls for South Carolina, which is a bit surprising. I don't really see that as being like an upgrade over A&M. If your whole point of leaving A&M was because of winning, I don't know why you go to South Carolina, right? Like, just being honest, that we had a better record than them last year, and for sure this year, and we beat them this year, so... his brother's following him as well, but Jake Johnson is another one. We have Donovan Green as a backup, so losing Jake sucks, but we have Donovan, who's a great pass catcher, right behind him, who was out this year due to injury. Jake, who knows where he's going to go. Odds-on favorite is North Carolina to follow his brother. One reason he came to A&M was to follow his brother. Next is Chase. Chase was all, I guess, like SEC freshman O-lineman. The dude was a stud. Played every game pretty much as a true freshman. Did really good. He had some bumps, but I'd say overall he was pretty decent. Don't really have any intel on why he's leaving. He got all the playing time in the world, and for an O-lineman, I feel like it's just a matter of proving that you can block, right? In A&M system, maybe it had to do with our O-line coach, but we got rid of him. I guess Chase hasn't really given the new guy a shot yet, or maybe they have talked to him about that, who knows, but the odds-on favorite to land him is LSU. So, I wouldn't say it's a lateral move. I'd say it's kind of a lateral move, right? Similar records. I think they went 9-3, we're 8-4. So, yeah. Moving on to the next group of portal guys. We have some guys that, committed to us already. Will Lee was a big one. He was a cornerback. The word on him that kind of concerns me is that he does give up some decent big plays. So, he's a good cornerback, but will give up a big play occasionally, which is pretty much our issue this year, right? We give up a lot of big plays. We're one of the worst teams in terms of, downfield passing, in terms of, defense against that. So, we'll see how he fits. But, with getting Colin Klein, I guess he wanted to come over as well. Raymond Cortrell was another really good receiver we had going to Kentucky. I would have thought he would have gotten more playing time next year just because we have a deep wide receiver room, but I think he's going for playing time. Max Johnson, again, did his time at A&M, looking for new change of scenery, nothing too crazy or surprising there. And a lot of these haven't been what I would say really surprising. So that's kind of the portal review. Next, I want to go into recruiting, right? So in terms of recruits, and also one more thing on the portal review, right? I think there will be more to come. Hopefully not like an Evan Stewart. Hopefully Evan doesn't leave, guys like that, but you never know. But at least as of now, that's kind of what we've seen. So recruiting news, lots of stuff has happened, right? So since Jimbo has left, we've lost Weston Davis and Cohen Echoes, however you say his last name, both offensive linemen. Cohen is a 4-star. Weston was a 5-star. Weston wasn't so surprising. He decommitted a while ago. Cohen decommitted recently, though. And what was surprising about that is he's from Katy, right, which is an hour from A&M. A little surprised he did decommit, but that is 2 big offensive line recruits that we have lost. Another one was Cam Coleman. That one, we did fire our receivers coach, and pretty much shortly after that, Cam decommitted to go to Auburn, which is, more or less where he grew up. Do I think Auburn's a better fit? No, not in any slight of the world. I think Cam would play a lot here, and he'd get to learn, and he would probably succeed a lot, right, alongside Evan and Noah Thomas, Moose Muhammad. You got a lot of guys that are around that you can, find your role in, right? We're losing Anaya Smith, which means we will need another guy up. That would have been Cam. But with him leaving, we'll see. And Jade Walker, who was a stud this year as well. The interesting one is DJ Lagway, right? So he is from Texas. He's been committed to Florida for a while, but there's been a lot of rumblings in Florida, like what's going on there. A lot of guys decommitting, and Mike Elko and Colin Klein are meeting with Lagway this week, making a hard push for him. So is it a possibility that we get DJ Lagway? Absolutely. Is it likely? Time will tell. But I'm sure the NIL package Florida offered is big. So it's just a matter of would we be willing to match that, because he would sit a year behind Connor. He wouldn't start over Connor, so it'd be like, hey, are you willing to sit for a year and learn? Which, who knows with a lot of these true freshmen nowadays. But moving on to who is committed still, after the dust has settled, Terry Busey and Dominic McKinley are 2 5-stars, Dominic being a D lineman, so, he'll be a plug and play ideally with who we have left on the D line. Terry Busey, I think, is going to play cornerback. He's an athlete. He played receiver, defensive back. I believe we're going to put him at cornerback. That's kind of my understanding. Dalen Evans is another lineman who's pretty good, and I believe Blake Ivy is a linebacker. I'm trying to look. I don't really see it. Oh yeah, inside linebacker. So I think both of them will get playing time right away, especially Blake. We're losing Edrin Cooper, so we will be needing a linebacker to come in. So our next kind of group of recruits to talk about is going to be Jordan Pride as a safety. He's our top ranked safety. He's pretty good. I don't know if he'll start right away, but he will be kind of a highly sought after guy. Miles O'Neill and Anthony Maddox. Anthony Maddox is down there. Are both pretty highly touted quarterbacks. Miles has shot up the rankings. Anthony, a lot of people like him. He's still a 3-star, but he's gotten a lot of praise around different circles. So maybe he is just undervalued, right, in terms of stars. However, both of them are coming in. What that looks like, I don't know. You still have Connor. You still have Marcel Reed, who was National Tennessee Football Player of the Year as our 3rd string, and then you have Jalen Henderson as our 2nd string. So these guys will be basically 4th and 5th string. Both will probably redshirt. Another guy to talk about is Ernest Campbell. He's a 4-star receiver. Dude's quick, very fast. from Texas. So high hopes for him as a slot receiver. And then next, Jordan Lockhart, and again, another linebacker that gets a lot of praise, who is a 3-star but could fit in right away, right? Tyrion York was a 3-star this year, started every game as a true freshman middle linebacker and made like all SEC honors and all NCAA true freshman teams. So just because you're 3-star, and that doesn't mean you can't contribute right away at A&M and make an impact. So with all that being said, we kind of talked about a lot there. Let's kind of jump into the schedule review, right? So this is what I'm pretty sure this is set in stone, is our 2024 schedule. So really what I wanted to talk about is kind of best and worst case scenario, right? I think not having Bama on this schedule helps a lot for sure. And with the new SEC format, we're not going to have Georgia or Tennessee, who we played this year. So I think both of those help a lot, right? So I think best case scenario, you go 12-1. You lose one of the games between Notre Dame, UT, LSU, and Missouri. I think worst case is Elko has, a similar first year to Jimbo, right? You go 8-4, you have a learning curve, you have some close games like we did this year, but you have that 8-4 record. Some things to note, right? Why you can talk yourself in or out of A&M winning a couple games. So having Notre Dame at home helps a lot. Notre Dame has had a lot of transfer portal exits, and they're getting a new quarterback. I think in Riley Leonard, Elko's, if they get Riley Leonard, that was Elko's quarterback for 2 years, he will know how to play him. He will know how to scheme for him, so I'm not too worried about Notre Dame at home, right? Florida at Florida, it's a tough environment, but again, Florida has had a lot of ups and downs this year. There's a lot of decommitments going on, a lot of guys entering the portal, so that could affect them just moving forward. Arkansas, Jerry's World, it's one of those games where it's like, we've won, I think, all but like 1 or 2 of the games. So if we lose, that's really on us beating ourselves up. LSU is the interesting one because it is at home. They won't have Jaden Daniels, so we won't know who's starting a quarterback, whether it's a portal guy or it's like Grant Nussmeier, who's their backup. LSU is a good team, but with losing Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors, it's one of those things where it's like they are beatable, right? This year we held them through 3 quarters all the way through the 4th, and then it just kind of got out of hand. But, if you can maintain that 4th quarter and they're losing the Heisman Trophy winner and we almost beat them this year with our backup, with our 3rd-string quarterback, I don't see a reason why we can't beat them next year. We'll talk about Texas last. The next couple games, Auburn, South Carolina, both teams we beat this year. Same with Mississippi State. New Mexico State, we beat this. I think didn't we play them this year or year before? One of the two. And then Missouri, right? Missouri is one of those that's going to be a sneaky game. It's going to be at the end of the year. Maybe we'll have a lot to play for at that point, potentially a playoff entry. So, it'll be kind of one of those games where it's like, yeah, both teams will be good. And if both are healthy, it's going to be a tough matchup. But having them at home helps. And, maybe we'll have something to play for. So it'll motivate us a lot. UT's going to be the interesting one, right? Especially if Quinn Ewers is coming back. I am going to ideally be at that game. Should have tickets to that. So if I have I'm going to find tickets to that game. Regardless, we're going to get tickets, alumni tickets. So UT is going to be one of those games where, it's going to be 110,000 people. They haven't played in, 12 years-ish? I forget the exact amount. But it's going to be a battle. That's going to be the one game where I could see us really being tested, even if we're on top of our game, right? UT is a team in the past that, they beat themselves, right? Against Kansas State this year, U of H, I don't think it was TCU, but against U of H, other teams, they really do beat themselves up, where it's like they are beatable because they make mistakes. It's going to be up to our defense to really just hold Quinn in check and, really make sure that, we make them make mistakes. It's that simple. They're losing A.D. Mitchell and Xavier Worthy most likely to the draft, so that's 2 deep threats taken out of their game. And again, our weak point this year was our secondary, so you can see how the matchups might benefit us moving forward, assuming they don't get any major transfer portal entrants or receivers, because they are losing Isaiah Nair as well in the portal. So with all that being said, I think it could be a good year for A&M with us going potentially 12-1. Maybe even a playoff berth in Elko's first year. It helps that it's a 12-team playoff, but Jimbo got close, got 5th place once in the COVID year. So with that being said, hope you guys like the new format. Kind of made it a little more visual. We're gonna keep tweaking it. Like I said, maybe one day get a green screen, maybe add a little more transitions to the videos, but keeping it right around 15 minutes. Just kind of an update on all things A&M. And until next time, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, follow us on all socials. And until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.